Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Hello and welcome to this interview. This is a group interview with a group of women that I am in a mastermind with. So if you are a subscriber to the bonus episodes, those are, side note, $5 a month, an extra episode every single week. And if you've been missing solo episodes, if you like hearing from me about my business, that's where those are. So you may have noticed that the main podcast has turned into almost exclusively interviews. All the personal stuff, all my struggles and me being a moron trying to figure things out, that's all over in the bonus episodes. So if that sounds fun, you can join us there. Something interesting that happened in the bonus episodes is I shared in real time, I was reading a book and it mapped out how to start a mastermind. So months and months ago, I talked about how I would love to do this. Well, fast forward, and someone that I recommended the book to started the mastermind. So shout out to Tiffany from Confetti Castle, who finally kind of sent a group message and got us all together. So we are talking about how we started this group mastermind, how we format it, what we talk about, and how it's helped. And then most importantly, how you can start your own. So this is a group of women that all have balloon businesses. We are different in a lot of ways, and we're the same in a lot of ways. And it's really been nice to have that weekly check-in with a group of like-minded business owners. So again, you can do this. You can start your own. We make it really easy in this episode. We didn't know how to do this either. We took the words right out of a book by John Lee Dumas that we're going to talk about in this interview. So I hope this one is inspiring. You're going to hear from a bunch of women. I will let them introduce themselves at the top of this interview, but I hope you enjoy this one. It's a little bit different. Let's take a quick break and head over to the U-Glue hotline for some great advice that sticks, and then get into an interview with my friends in my little mastermind group. Welcome to the U-Glue hotline, where we discuss great advice that sticks, brought to you by Pro Tapes. If you have a question or some great advice to share, click the link in the show notes to call in and leave a voicemail.
Hey, Sarah, this is Beth with Balloons by Beth in San Antonio, Texas. I wanted to call in with a little tip, which maybe people already know, but I use all the time, and that is to make water weights for the ends of garlands. I don't love securing the end of a garland to the floor just because sometimes it can pop off, and depending on what the floor is made of, it can mess up the floor. So I double a balloon up. So I'll put a balloon inside a balloon, an 11-inch or even a 17-inch. I put it on a faucet, just like you'd fill up water balloons back in the olden days when I was a kid. And you make it about, 4 or 5 inches, not huge. Tie off the inside balloon and then tie that to the bottom of your garland inside your balloon cluster. And it holds it in place. Thanks. Have a great day.
Pro Tapes is a leading manufacturer of specialty tape products like Pro Gaff, Pro Artist Tape, and our favorite balloon tape, U-Glue, which helps you create amazing balloon arrangements and decorations in less time. You can save 5% on U-Glue when you buy directly from Having a Party using code BRIGHT at checkout. All right, welcome to this episode. My mastermind group, my group of balloon business owners. We're excited today to chat about this group that we've met every Monday for a while now. And it's become our little sharing spot, our accountability group, lots of things. But before we jump in and share about what it looks like to have a mastermind, let's introduce ourselves. I don't have to go. Everyone knows who I am, but I will anyway. I'm in Wisconsin. If someone's new to the podcast and listening, I'm Sarah. I have a business in Wisconsin. I do pretty much commercial balloons. I deliver everything. I don't have a storefront, but I do a lot of corporate, some in-home parties, but I do balloons and marquee rentals. Tiffany, you want to go next?
I am Tiffany and I own Confetti Castle in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've had my business for just over 5 years. We do mostly balloons. We also do have our own marquees and that we just have had since the beginning of this year. We also have other rentals like backdrops and those kinds of things, but our main bread and butter are balloons. I work with a team. I have myself and then I have employees, and that's it.
Lily, another familiar voice to the podcast.
Hi, I'm Lily from the Creative Heart Studio, and I'm in Miami, Florida. I am a full-time balloon content creator, and I've been in the industry for 15 years.
All right. Aubrey?
Hi, I'm Aubrey. I'm in Chicago. We're just right outside of Chicago. We do mostly balloons, but we also have started to kind of venture out into other event decor, like backdrops and fringe. And recently we made like a beer can coffee table, like just crazy things whatever you could come up with. And this was our COVID pivot, which is a super fun story sometime. So I've been doing this about 4.5 years.
All right. Jordan.
Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm owner of Hip Hip Hooray from Joplin, Missouri. We mostly do balloons, but we also have a bunch of party rentals, marquee letters, photo booth, cotton candy cart. And we just turned 3. I have a full-time employee and a part-time employee.
Very cool. And you're in a teeny tiny town, right? Like itty
Yeah,
bitty?
it's very small area. Yeah.
All right. Similar to me. And Michelle, last but not least.
All right, so I am Michelle, and my husband and I own Lush Balloons in Sacramento, California. And we are a team of right now 6, but I just lost half my team, so training some new people. And we mainly do balloon decor. We also have our marquee rentals and backdrops. We've also been recently venturing out into other types of decor, like hanging stuff in the ceiling for people and things like that. So yeah, whatever we can get our hands on.
Cool. So we have a lot in common, but we're all really different too. Size of our business, time that we've been doing, balloons, like we're all very different. But Tiffany, after the break, we're going to get into kind of why we're doing this, what our structure is, what is a mastermind. But before we jump into that, you kind of assembled this group. So I'm curious kind of how you decided who to invite, like what your vibe was that you were looking for. Because obviously you could have invited, hundreds of people, all different kinds. You could have done just marquee people or just full event setups or just people who do X amount in business a year. You didn't. You invited all different kinds of people. What were you kind of thinking?
So, the first thing is that well, we all kind of talk, I think you, Sarah and I especially, I think had like mentioned it before, like we should have like a group, and we've had like group chats with different kinds of people in it and stuff like that. But, so it wasn't that, but it was really what first started it was Sarah's, the book that she had talked about, which is that I read right away. And as soon as I read it, I was like, oh, okay, this is what this means. And it's The Common Path to Uncommon Success by John Lee Dumas. And so I listened to that, or I read the book twice actually now, and I was like, oh well, now I understand what she was like really into this book, and I thought, oh, this is great. And the pillar of his book is a mastermind. So since Sarah had read it and we had mentioned it in like among some of us, I was like, we should really do an actual mastermind. So I was like, yeah, who should we do? So that's kind of how that came about, was really about that book. And so then as far as like who was in it, obviously Sarah and me, and then as far as I'll just tell a little bit about everybody, I think all of us, in Lily is the exception, but for us, the rest of us, we're all kind of like, for the most part, big fish in us, and not a small pond, but like, we're all in even though if our incomes or our sales numbers are different, we're all kind of like, people would look at us as like, leaders in our city for balloons or for what we do. And obviously Lily is who she is. So that, but Lily has a lot of mind and experience in like e-commerce and teaching and all those things. So I think that was for me, for both of us, all of us, a natural, like, she has a lot to give. And also I know a lot of us like to keep our little circle, like, on the tighter side of really when we're talking about numbers and stuff. So it's like people we really trust, and not like there's not other people we don't, but truthfully, I mean, these are people that we talk to on a very regular basis, that I talk to on a very regular basis. So that was important for me. But I think, everyone's got some versatility, like has more than just balloons. So it's not just, you want to have enough differences so you learn from each other, but also enough in common that we're not talking about like, a big job I did this week was, I did one job this weekend, which I understand that's where some people are, but that's not where I'm at. So I need people who are going to be like elevating me, and people how I feel like I can also help elevate. So I think that was really important to kind of, even if we're not in the exact same place, everyone's in a similar enough place that we can still learn from each other and, grow from what we can learn from one another.
Yeah, I think we've been meeting
so I
for
think
like,
that's pretty good answer.
We've been like, what, 3 months? I mean, not,
Yeah,
we
I'd
took a
say
little
about
break,
that.
but 3 months. And I don't think we've ever talked about how to make something out of balloons ever. No one's been like,
I
does
don't think
anyone
so at
know how
all.
to do a spiral art? Does anyone know how to do a 30-foot? So I would say that's kind of one of the defining things too, is like, none of us are really trying to like figure out the balloons. Like we're really focused on the business and the growth, and employees comes up a lot. So I think you could have a mastermind where you're how do you make a base plate? How do you get a job? But like that would have not been a good fit for this group. So I think that's
No.
why the people kind of matter. It's not just like, who are you best friends with? It's like, where are we kind of on our business journey?
And you also don't want to have too many people either.
Yes.
So that's the other thing. If it's too much, then it's like too many things and too many, I don't want to say opinions, but too many different things. So I think he says that this is like a good sized group. And so that was the other reason I think that to have this many people.
Yeah. Let's circle back to the book real quick. Did anyone else in the group read it?
I'm currently listening to it.
Lily's, yeah, I listened to it as well. So again, it's called The Uncommon Path to, no, what is it? The Common Path to Uncommon
I
Success.
had to look it up too.
Yeah.
It is Common Path.
Yeah, I read it too.
I think Aubrey's read it too.
It was,
I listened
Jordan,
to it. I listened to it. I did not read it.
It was the
But
first time.
We know what we mean.
Yeah, reading doesn't exist in my world. It's like reading with air quotes. I just mean listening. It was the first time that anyone had mapped out for me what a mastermind was. And I think that's why I got so excited, because I like never knew. I know there's paid masterminds. I know that like you can join like Amy Porterfield's mastermind, but that's just a paid program that she runs. It's not like everyone's an equal. It's like it's a thing. So this was the first time that he mapped it out, and he had some like rules, which I also liked. So like Tiffany mentioned, you keep it small. I think we actually have it bigger than he suggested. I think he said maximum 5 people.
I think you said 5.
But then he also said you meet weekly, and there's like a structure. So we did pretty much stick to this structure that once a week someone shares, and then everyone offers feedback, and then everyone sets a goal. So like you're really kind of on the hot seat like once every 5 rotations. So we kind of went through that, and we're starting up a second round. And I think that helped.
And you also, the first 15 minutes is you are talking about what you did the week prior. Like, where's everybody in their goals? So you go one by one and you say like, this is where I did, I'm still working on this, or I finished this. And then the next one is, the person in the hot seat, then people respond to it. Then the last 15 minutes is like, what do I want to get done this week?
Yeah. Yeah. So I liked that. I liked the structure versus like, let's just meet and figure it out every single week. And I will say everyone has kind of met every single week. I'm surprised how much everyone's prioritized this. It's nice. I like starting my week with this. But everyone else on the call, when you got this invite, was anyone like, I don't think so? Like, I don't really want to do this. Or were you like, yeah, I don't care. Like what going into it, Jordan, what was your thought?
I just think that because I look up to all of you guys, that I didn't feel like I would be a resource. So I was really just in Tiffany's ear, like, I am self-doubting. I just don't think I could contribute. And I don't want to be like just somebody to soak up without being able to like give back. But she kind of just like, put me back in my place.
Dismissed it as we were doing that. We're all just shaking our head. We're like, stop it.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of felt like that, not like that, but in that sense. But since I don't run a balloon business anymore, like I don't run like a for hire business, I kind of felt like, well, am I really going to be able to like participate properly in this. Like, I wasn't really sure. But then I was just like, okay, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah. Have you found value out of it?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, that's who I'm catering to. So it was like a little weird for me too, because I'm like, well, I'm kind of catering to balloon people. So I'm technically like in a mastermind with people who are supposed to be my clients, but like, so it was a little bit, that was weird for me. But no, it worked out. I've gotten some really good feedback. So it's been really helpful.
Great. Aubrey, anything else to add?
No, I mean, similarly to Jordan, I was kind of like, I kind of live in the shadows. I joke around about this, because I'm honestly, I feel like I'm always just kind of busy working on my business or in my business. And so I was a little bit like self-doubting if I would fit into the group also. But I'm super glad that I did it. And there's just a lot of feedback to be had with people that are in your industry that are not in your city. There's also the value with people in your city, but in this case, and then the accountability too. Just having people when you have an idea or you kind of have a small idea and then you present it to everyone in the group and you hear the feedback and it's valuable in that way. And I can elaborate on that a little bit more if you want.
Yeah, let's do that after the break. I want to talk about kind of what we all hoped to get out of it and maybe what we have gotten out of it. And then going into round two, how we've maybe adjusted some of those assumptions or goals. So let's take a quick break and then we'll get right back into it. Are you ready to take your balloon business to the next level? Look no further than Having a Party Wholesale, your ultimate destination for all things balloons. Having a Party Wholesale is on the cutting edge of new products that will wow your clients, from top brands like Tuftex, Jamar, Anagram, Ellie's, Sempertex, Premium Conwin, and introducing Brookloon, a new balloon line created by the Having a Party family. They've got the widest selection to fuel your creativity. Join the successful league of professional balloon artists who shop at havingaparty.com. Okay, welcome back. Aubrey, you were talking about kind of what you gained from the experience. I think we've all thought it's valuable. I think like it's hard going into something new and thinking like, okay, we're going to keep this structure and like this is how it's going to go. But there were some times which it was very nice that like therapeutically we just like would talk about how much of a shit show everything was and like how it's just like there are those weeks where it's just like someone needs to cut loose and it's nice to have that. I also want to clarify too, we do meet on Zoom, which I think is important. Like it's fun to see everyone. Sometimes people are kind of working in the background and like I don't know. It's very nice to start my week like this. But Aubrey, what were your big takeaways from our first round?
The biggest takeaway was just having the accountability, because sometimes as a small business owner, you wear all the hats. Well, not sometimes, all the time. And to be able to sit down and just kind of know that once a week, even if it's not my week, we're going to talk to like-minded business owners and talk about our struggles. And it just helped focus on whatever it was. And then it also kind of helped when other people talked about their struggles to like put a light bulb in my head, like, oh, that's something that I could do to fix that, because that's something that's on the back burner because I haven't gotten to it yet. So just really, because you wear so many hats, helping to focus in on some of those things and find solutions for it. And then also just talk about it because it feels lonely sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Michelle, how about you? I'm not going to share your details, but like you went through some employee struggles and this was kind of your place to rant. Did you find it helpful? I mean, I have nothing to contribute when it comes to having employees, but like, was it just nice to have a place to go and like talk through things? Do you feel like you got any insights in terms of staffing?
I would say 100%. I think the biggest thing for me is this group is not afraid to tell the truth, and then I'm not afraid to hear the truth, because sometimes you need to hear it from other people that are comfortable with being honest. Things like other people would just sugarcoat it, and I feel like none of us are afraid to. And so I think for me that's the biggest thing, where I could think something's a big deal and other people will sugarcoat it, be like, yeah, that's a big deal, but then everybody here is like, why are you freaking out? This is normal. And so that's been the biggest support, at least, like no matter with what I share, employees specifically, because I mean we're still going through some turnover. So yeah.
Well, going into the second round, do you guys think we should do anything different?
I do not think we should do anything different. I like the format where we have the first 15 minutes where we kind of hold each other accountable for the previous week, and just check in to make sure that we did what we were supposed to. And then like the intensive portion. And then, sometimes at the end, we talk about what everyone's going to do the next week. But then sometimes we talk a little bit longer, like if it allows. And I kind of like that we've made it our own structure, a little bit outside of what the book had recommended, but because sometimes you just need to chit chat about things that are not in the structure, but we still stay within the structure.
I feel like I like the format, but I feel like I want to be better prepared. I thought I was going to kill it. I was like, I'm going to be so focused. I'm going to have all my ideas. When it's my time to share, I'm going to get all this feedback. And then I'm just going to like take so much action. And now I'm like, what did I do? Like, I know that I accomplished things, but I think for me, it was an eye opener that like, I feel like I'm pretty focused. I get a lot done, but I feel like I get a lot of little things done. And I never like executed the big thing, the one big thing that I kind of had, I don't even remember what I was trying to do when I started. My goals changed so many times in the course of a few months. So I think I'm going to think harder about what I actually want to accomplish and not deviate from it because it's almost like your ideas sparked new ideas in me. And then all of a sudden I was working on a new idea and I forgot what my old idea was. So I think I need to be a little bit more focused this time. Did anyone accomplish the goal that they set?
I feel like Jordan did.
Jordan, she was the big winner. I mean,
Did you
I think
launch
the part of
your stuff?
No, I created
Oh.
it. I have it finished, but then I was just in my head, which is a normal thing for me. But then talking last week, I was sharing kind of like me and my self-doubt and like, is it going to be helpful or useful or people are going to buy it? And then you guys changed my idea. So I'm going to relook at it. It's on my list for this round, but I already have other goals that I want to do. So I'm going to try to do both. But I think I'm gonna launch it.
Do you want to say what it is?
I guess, yeah. Okay, so I get a lot of questions about our balloon garland kit. So I put together a balloon garland kit guide that will give you like step-by-step instructions so that you can create balloon garland kits for your business in a really easy way without going out of your way or wasting a bunch of money or time, like trial and error. So hopefully that will come. I would like to do it by the end of October, so we'll see.
And then we need to talk more about that in another episode because I
Okay.
think that's something I want to do. Like I had a little boutique open in town and I don't know what, I was like possessed. And I was like, oh, could I sell my grab and go kits here? Like I don't have those. Those aren't a thing. And she was like, yeah, 100%. And I was like, okay. And then I laughed. I was like, what did I just do? Why did I do that? I just like invented a product on the fly. So I'm waiting for you to release it so that I
Okay.
can release mine.
I'll do it.
well, we can talk about it when we're at Summit together. So, because we'll be
Oh,
there
yes.
in person.
Yeah.
So in November, so we can.
So
But I think that
who else, real
go
quick,
ahead.
who's coming to Summit? Tiffany,
I am.
Jordan, Lily, and me. Okay, good chunk of us. Yeah, that's where we're gonna start experimenting with some video podcasting as well. So pray for my soul. They'll probably like lose my suitcase, and I'll be like, "Well, this is a sign, a
Oh my
sign
God.
that I shouldn't do this."
I was gonna say, I'm kind of with you, Sarah. The only thing that I feel like I would do differently is kind of be maybe like write things down more and just be a little bit more organized because I felt like I came in with like this goal that we wanted to do, and then things just got so busy, like, like I feel like we got slow and then we got huge turnover situation, like things changed, and so then my focus shifted, which I mean I think is something we deal with every single week where we think we know what we're working on and then life hits us and we're like, oh, it's really this. So I think because it's still a goal of ours but it's put on the back burner again, so I think this group kind of helps me like keep accountable with that, but then also uh it like we keep talking about it, and so I feel like it's gonna force me to just act on it this time around. So
Yeah.
I think the only thing when we're talking about like organizing our thoughts is that the biggest thing for me, and like one thing I've thought about, like I'm like wouldn't probably be much, but is like if we considered, or I feel like we need someone to like go back through the conversations we had and write down, because I don't think any of us that is our thing.
I
And
write all of it down. I
I
have
know we
all
write
of
it
my
down, but
notes.
it's, yeah, you have your notes, but it's like write down like who, you know what I mean? So then we're like, okay, it's like an outline. So I'm like, could we stick this recording into AI and have it be
Well,
like, give us the Cliff Notes of
Oh,
Zoom
that's a
has
good
that
idea.
now.
That's a
Zoom
good
literally
I've
has
idea.
heard
that.
that that
They
was
type out the
coming.
meeting notes. So that would be something good to look into. And it like reorganizes them. So if you like go back to a topic at the end, it like puts it where you had originally talked about it. So maybe we can try that.
Mhm. Yeah, I think one other thing too is like I think that, well, I guess it comes at the end. I was saying when if someone's starting their own, I think a big thing. Well, I'll tell you that at the end. I'll wait till we finish that. But I do think that as far as like the way it goes, I totally agree with like what everybody said. Is I like the way it is. I think it's all just on our own selves to say like, what do we want to, like how we want to improve. But as far as the group as a whole, I don't think there's really anything to improve or change.
Yeah, I also think getting feedback was more overwhelming than I anticipated. Um, like when it was my turn to share, I was like, here's my idea. And I just wanted everyone to be like, amazing. And then like, that's it. But it was like, oh, here's a ton of feedback. And I was like, oh, like it was like drinking from a fire hose. I know, Tiffany, we did that with yours too. You had a very straightforward idea and we like expanded it accidentally into like a new business. So like, I think you do have to kind of filter and like, yes, these are all good ideas, but this is what I'm actually going to do. Or like, I need to go back to the drawing board. But I don't think I'm used to getting feedback. Just because of this industry. You know, like you can ask your husband, but like they don't really care. You can ask your friend, but like they don't really know. You know, I think Lily probably struggles with that more than anyone. Like she's in her own, honestly, like industry. Like she, you know, she's in the balloon niche, but like you offer something that we don't offer. So I don't know how good our feedback was. And so I think that was for me, I wasn't prepared for the feedback part.
Yeah, that was a little bit when I got all that feedback, it was a little bit because like a lot of the suggestions were things that as somebody who makes product, does digital content and all that, I was just like, that's not realistic. Like that's not gonna work because it becomes like a lot of hand holding, even though it was just like a lot of that kind of stuff. And just because I've not from the process of what I've done and all the other things I've done. So that was hard for me too. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm getting the direct source. I'm getting the feedback from mostly the direct source. So I was like, okay, but yeah, it's kind of like that balance.
Well, and that's what he mentioned in the book too. Like, it's not supposed to really be a discussion. Like, you talk about your goal and then everyone just shares. And like, you just sit there and listen, which I think I have a really hard time with. I want to be like, well, but it's a good idea, but like, that's not going to work. And here's why. And you're just supposed to really sit there and like write it all down. And it doesn't matter if what they're telling you isn't going to work or isn't a good idea. Like that's up to you to then filter that out later. But I feel like I wasn't great at that either. I wanted to like explain on the spot like all the nuances and all the ideas. And it's like well, you can, but you're just like limiting your own time. Like you're cutting into people's sharing time. So you're really just supposed to sit there, take notes, which of course I didn't really do. So yeah, I'm excited for round two because I think I'll get more out of it this time. I hope we all will.
I was actually the opposite. I thought I was gonna be like you, and I wasn't. I was gonna be trying to explain, like, no, that's not gonna. And I didn't. I have 3 pages of notes from that day. I was just like writing everything down, and then afterwards just crossing off, like, never gonna work, never gonna work, never on my own. But it worked out good because I thought I was gonna be like, but no, no, but, because I tend to be like that, and I did. I was proud of myself. I did pretty good. I just like listened.
I am on this Sarah Blakely kick. Um, she's the creator of Spanx. I'm like obsessed. I go through like periods of just being obsessed with people. Um, but I just listened to an interview with her yesterday, and she said that she thinks ideas are a gift from the universe. And if you don't write them down, you're not being responsible. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Because I'll get an idea and be like, that's dumb. And then I just forget it. And she says she has 100 pages in her notebook of ideas, just idea after idea after idea. And she said, like, you say no to 99% of them, but like, she's like, and if you have 100 pages of ideas, I promise you one of them is $1 million idea. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So like, I'm sometimes doing the editing and the filtering before I even write it down. And that changed. I'm just gonna write down all my dumb ideas because I have like 100 a day, and just keep track of them because like she said sometimes it's just not the time, but like 10 years from now, something that would have been impossible now is like going to be really easy. And I see that in like, even websites. When I first started my business, like you didn't just like build a website. You didn't just like sell online to people. It was harder. So stuff just keeps getting easier and more possible.
I like notes, like I like to write things down, but I don't always have something to write with. I don't always like yesterday I was driving. I told my husband I thought of an idea and I said, text this to me so that way I can have it. But Jordan knows because we go on a lot of trips together. My favorite thing to do when I have a really brilliant idea is I'm like, record this. So I'll like make a video. It might just be me talking, but I'll be like, this is my really good idea because I will have very I think. And later I'm like, gosh, I'm so smart. Sometimes I'll have these ideas and I'm like, record it so that way we remember it later because I will not remember. My ADD is so bad. But recording it. So even if you can't like actually write it down in the moment, I mean, another thing you can do is like record it, make a voice note or just make a video, whatever it is, of you just talking. So that way then just file that away because I just can't, who's walking around with paper and pen these days? Nobody. So
Me,
Lily.
Lily
Yeah,
and
of
Sarah
course.
Blakely.
me
Of
and
course,
Reynosa.
Lily is. Literally this morning, my husband was going to make a list of something, and he's like, "Where is there paper?" And I was like, "I don't know. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find a notebook at the house. I was like, here's some computer paper. I don't know what to tell you." And normally I have a bunch of notebooks, but I just didn't have any there at the moment. So make a video, whatever. But it definitely does help. Writing down all those ideas. Having them somewhere is super important.
Just keep a notebook next to your nightstand. On your nightstand. That's what I do.
Or just like even in your phone. I have all these notes apps in my phone, and
Yeah,
every time I have to go through and just, clean them out. But I like that. I like that she's just like, you're being irresponsible if you're not taking your ideas seriously. I was like, I love that. All right, let's take a quick break. And then I want to do a quick little section about really nitty gritty how someone listening can start one of these. Like, I just want to make it not scary so that all these little mastermind groups are popping up and helping everyone. So hang tight. If you're looking to grow your balloon business through sales and marketing, Balloon Suite is the high-tech toolkit designed just for you. Let's chat with Jeff Kelly, owner of Balloon Suite, to answer one of your sales and marketing questions. All right, Jeff, today we have a question from Poppin' Off Balloons, and they are asking, what are customers looking for on a website?
Customers are absolutely looking for themselves on your website. So if I am working at a car dealership and I'm looking for balloons for the dealership, when I go to the website, I want to be able to find a page about dealerships and I want to see the work you've done at dealerships. If I am an event planner and I'm looking for a vendor to handle some aspect of balloon decor for my event that I'm working with my client, I am looking for content about that same type of event on your website. And so we love websites with lots of pages tailored to customers and tailored to different types of events.
Love it. Balloon Suite helps boost your sales, solve everyday problems, and keeps you on track to reach your goals. Check out the link to Balloon Suite in the show notes wherever you're listening, or head right to balloonsuite.com. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about how someone listening can start one of these on their own. We kind of went over like the ground rules that the book set up. First, I would recommend just reading the book. I think it made it feel very attainable and not as intimidating as I would have thought. And it sets up these ground rules of like, first 15 minutes, you share your wins. Second 15 minutes, someone shares their personal goals or struggles. Next 15 minutes, everyone gives feedback. Last 15 minutes, everyone shares their next action item. I think that's a really easy format that seemed to work. But how else, what do people need to know? Tiffany, I think because you were really the one that got the ball rolling on this group. I mean, like, I didn't take action. I just told you it was a cool book, but something made you actually do it. So what do you think someone else could do?
I think a big thing is going to be, well, one thing that we didn't consider, which I'm only saying this because think about this when you're doing it, is I was like, oh yes, Michelle for sure. Poor Michelle is on a different time zone. And she's not just like one time zone away. She is on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast. And then we do have people central too. So that's only 1 hour, but she's 3 hours different. So that's just a very weird side note just to consider, which somebody might not have a problem with it.
I didn't even
Go ahead.
realize that. So we're starting at 7:30 her time.
Yes.
Ugh. Oh, that's the first time it even
Yes.
occurred to me. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So that's the whole thing. So she has been a trooper in doing that. And, but another thing is people that are committed, and we'll say 7:30 because you guys remember I was on vacation in Hawaii. You guys were like, "Oh, just enjoy your vacation." I was like, "I'm not missing it." I got up at 4:30. It was still dark outside, and I was sitting in my hotel room in Hawaii on my thing. So I feel like you definitely want people that are committed because it's very easy to just like, whatever. So if you have somebody who obviously most likely it's not going to be who you're like that are around you, but if you have someone who's kind of flaky, that's probably not the person to ask. So I think definitely people who are dependable, who are there for you now as it is, that's super important. You want to make sure you have people that are going to be there for you. And also, I'm a firm believer in these are just like things that I would really consider is also people who aren't just takers. So we have a lot of, we all know a lot of people, and there's a lot of people who ask a lot of questions, but they don't give a lot of answers when you need help. And so I think it's really important to have people who are willing to do both. They're willing to listen to your feedback, take your feedback for what it is, and also give you feedback. So if it's somebody like before you're like, oh, I really like this person, there's a lot of people I really like, but guess what? When I need something or if I have a question or whatever, and nobody has all of the answers, but if there are people that are consistently only asking and never giving input, then those aren't the people that you want to have in your group. So those are like kind of just like a couple things I can think of that are just when you're considering who it should be or who you would like, then that's a big thing. And also, I think like, 4 to 6 people is good because then you have enough time to get your stuff done in between. Because if you're constantly in the hot seat every 3 weeks, then you're just going to be like creating problems and issues that you don't really have. So it's kind of nice to have like this little bit of time and then, build a weekend here or there where either you all are going to have a week off because a couple of people are out of town, or you're going to, you know, for whatever reason. I mean, maybe just like next week, hey, let's all just talk about this general topic and not have like somebody be, but just like every month or something like that, or maybe at the end of your cycle before you start over again. So those kinds of things. So those are some things I would consider when you're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan, well, and Aubrey, you both said you were kind of not intimidated because you're friends with people in this group, but you were like, I don't know if I'm really going to fit. Well, Lily too, you had the same thing for different reasons. Like, does my area really mesh well with everyone else? If you had to start your own, what feedback would you have for people? Because I think I'll just be honest. I think people listening are like, well, it's easy for Tiffany to start one of these. She knows everyone. Her business is huge. She has confidence. Like, I think it's a lot more difficult for someone who's like, I don't know anybody in the industry. I am in a small town. I don't know if I have a lot to contribute. Like, what would you guys tell those people listening?
I guess one thing that I feel like I'm really good at is doing things without like a full plan, and like I'll do things scared. So I feel like asking or just being in somebody's DMs or just like cheering them on and then building up the confidence to maybe ask like, hey, I was thinking like we could put like a small group together, just kind of going about it that way, especially if you don't know people. But I think the easiest way to get to know people is to go to events. So maybe you could find people at an event and then just make a plan to meet from there. That would be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. This is
And
going to come out in October. Summit is probably the next event a lot of people are going to go to. So if you are going to Balloon Boss Summit, I mean, there's going to be 100 people there. So I think that's a really easy goal. Like, I'm just going to kind of like try to meet a couple people. And then my big goal is going to be inviting them to this virtual weekly meetup.
Well, I think
Yeah.
a good way too now is they have this podcast to share, be like, send this podcast to somebody, send them a link to the book, and be like, hey, do your research, give someone a little bit of time to think about, is this something I want to commit to? But like, this is I feel like this, thank you, Sarah. I think people will be thankful for this because they're going to hear this, get these ideas and these thoughts and see how it's helped us. And, this is a good way, like easy way to be, here's an intro here. Can you listen to this podcast? See if this is something you're into. Let's read this book. So that way because it does have a lot of other info, but even if you don't read the book, it's like, this is a good foot in the door to start the conversation with other people, I think.
Yeah, I like that as a segue too. Instead of people being confused, like, wait, so like you're starting a mastermind? Are you like the teacher? Like, because it's probably going to be a foreign concept. I do like that idea of like, hey, here's this idea. Maybe even be like, I'm personally looking to grow in these areas. Is that something that you're also interested in? Or even like, I'm struggling with this and I'm looking to kind of grow through those growing pains with a group of people. Is this something that you think would be a good fit? Um, 'Cause I know that sounds silly, but like all of life is just high school. And I think like stuff can be very, very intimidating if you don't have that personality that like, oh, this feels easy. That doesn't feel easy to a lot of people. I know I had people reach out and they're just like looking for a group of men to do this with. Like they are few and far between in our industry. And like a lot, like I host an event annually that's only for women. And like guys can't come. Like I think there's a lot of men that are doing balloons that are like, I don't really have a place to go where I can talk to other dudes doing this. So I think starting a mastermind is like the perfect solution.
One thing I forgot to say too, when we were talking about when we started this, is that as far as the structure, is that when we first started, we sat down at the very beginning when the first time we ever met and we all picked the week and we said, okay, I'm going to do this week. I'm going to do this week, because you don't want to just be like caught off guard. So it's like when you do it, you say, okay, let's set up the schedule. And then you can all look at your calendar and be like, oh, I have a really huge job this day. So like the day before. So probably shouldn't be this week for me. So you're going to set that up beforehand. And we just didn't mention that. So I want to make sure we set up it. You set up kind of this calendar is what I would say, as far as that goes. So
Yeah.
just
So you
wanted
know
to
when
add
you're
that.
when you're gonna go. Yeah, absolutely. Aubrey, what were you gonna say?
The one thing that Tiffany kind of touched base on in the beginning, I do think it's important to find people that are at the same place of business or similar point of business as you were, like, and everybody kind of touched on it a little bit, but really finding something, a similar goal to kind of get the conversation started is probably like a top thing that if I was to make my own, I would be looking at. Like, I think Tiffany said this in the beginning, like if we're, or maybe you said it, but I'm not looking for anyone to teach me how to make a spiral column. So like you have to know that your point of your business that you're at is going to align with the other people in your group. Otherwise, one person is going to be like teaching a whole bunch of things to other people, and then it's not going to feel reciprocal.
And like that could be super cool too. We're not poo-pooing that. Like you might be like, hey, I'm brand freaking new and I need some accountability. I mean, you can also join Balloon Boss Mastermind, which is like it's a paid mastermind and it's very large. But you might also just be like, I need like 4 other people who are at my level. And like this week's challenge is we're all going to make an arch. This week's challenge is we're all going to figure out how to do a bouquet. Like you can structure it however you want. But I agree that finding people with similar interests at a similar level seemed to be what kind of kept ours on track. All right, let's take one more break and then we're getting to the fun questions about where you guys like to go on vacation and ideas for more things for me to buy. That's the goal every week. Introduce new products. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Hey listeners, before we wrap up today's episode, let's talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Balloon Guild. Do you ever see amazing balloon decor online and wonder, how did they make that? The Balloon Guild is revolutionizing the industry by standardizing recipes, SOPs, and offering unparalleled training. Their mission? To elevate balloon artists worldwide, ensuring efficiency, profitability, and unparalleled professionalism. For business owners and their teams, the Balloon Guild isn't just a resource, it's a game changer for growth and development. For me, it's been the ultimate shortcut in finally getting things out of my head and onto paper, so I'm not making things up on the fly, and so my team can work together to create consistent, fast decor. Visit their platform today at theballoonguild.com or by using the link in the show notes. New recipes and resources are released every month. Okay, let's finish up with some late questions. They are the same every episode. Where's your favorite place to vacation? What is something you recently purchased that you're loving? It can be totally unrelated to balloons. And then instead of the typical business advice question that I ask, I want to switch it up and ask you guys all who you would like to hear on the podcast. So you can essentially nominate someone, and then I will try my best to get them on. Let's start with Lily.
So my favorite place to vacation, which we haven't been in a few years actually, is Captiva Island here in Florida. And it's a really nice island. It's like you kind of really, really disconnect. So that's my favorite place, even though we haven't been in a few years actually. And also Disney, but that's not really a vacation. It's more like a trip.
And how about something you've purchased? Bonus points if it's like an as seen on TV or TikTok purchase.
It's not. I do a lot of TikTok purchases, but they're usually dresses. But my husband bought these pencils. These I know it's so silly, but I love them because I love to write on notebooks. These like mechanical pencils, but the lead is thicker. So I love the way they feel when I'm writing, and it feels like I don't have to put as much pressure in my hands when I'm writing. So I really like them, and they're pink. So
very cute. All right, and finally, who would you like to hear on the podcast?
I would love to hear Erin from Young and Wild Balloons. I would love to like re-listen that now.
Yeah, her business just keeps growing. So, yeah. And she lost a full-time employee. So I am curious how she's doing. I will definitely reach out. Okay, Michelle, favorite place to go on vacation?
I would say somewhere all-inclusive in Mexico.
Okay. How about something you've purchased recently that you're obsessed with?
There's the sizer machine for helium. I bought it and I finally got it to work. And it's saved so much time, and I can train new people like in 10 minutes or less. So yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it's amazing.
Split sizer. It's a sizing machine for helium. I love it.
Yes.
And then the last question is, who would you like to hear on the podcast?
Who would I like to hear on the podcast? I'm gonna be biased and say my husband.
I think that's a good suggestion.
He yeah, I would just say him because it would be interesting to hear it from. He's not a content creator like Lily, but he creates so much content for our page that people in not just in the industry, but like even locally are like, you're the most famous person in the room, or you're the superstar. And like, it's so interesting that people say that because I see the side of him that's like super self-conscious, thinks no one's going to like this, but then everybody loves it. So I think it would be cool to hear from people of how he also, just because he makes funny or like good content doesn't mean that he's not feeling the same way all of us do. So
yeah, love it. Interesting. We will get it scheduled. Tiffany, next up, where vacation? I'm curious because you go a lot of places. What's your fave?
Well, I mean, everyone's gonna say Disney because that's obvious, which it is definitely like for sure. I mean, that really is the truth. And I think I still look at more of it as a vacation because I don't have little kids, so it isn't as much of a trip. I am responsible for other humans when I go to Disney World. You can ask Jordan. Actually, this week I didn't have my phone for half a day. I left it at the hotel, so that was
Brutal.
Probably
brutal for me.
Someone else had to take charge. So Disney is probably number one. It's my happiest place for sure, without a doubt. And then I would say number two would be Hawaii. I love Hawaii. It's like the best place to go, like really unplug, really just relax. My husband loves it there. Definitely those are for sure my top two.
Nice. How about something you've purchased lately that you would recommend?
Ooh. Okay, I'm trying to think of what I've sent any of you guys that said like I bought this and I love it. Well, the one Michelle said before is about the helium machine. I mean, I didn't recently purchase it, but that is unbelievably like the number one top best purchase. But you have to get the 60/40 attachment. The machine is with the 60/40 is, yes, it's $1,000, but it literally is an employee. It is an employee. It takes a quarter of the time to blow up the helium balloons. Everybody does it correctly because you can't mess it up. It is an actual huge game changer.
What are you using 60/40 on though?
Almost everything.
Are you doing your
100% helium?
You're doing your 18-inch? Okay. A lot of people are still using 100. I'm doing a test right now to see all the float times of everything. And I'm already on day 3 and everything's still floating. And I'm like, I don't guarantee my balloons for 3 days. Like, I don't know when I would need to have them last longer.
even if we have a corporate job, if it's a corporate job and I know it's like a 2 hour event, I use 60/40. Don't even use high float because
Really?
it's a 17-inch balloon. We don't do 11-inch, so we use 60/40. I'm not even going to waste the high float. I charge all the same whether it has high float or not because it balances out in the end. And if I know it's something that's a quick event, I'm not going to use high float, but I'll just still use 60/40.
Yeah, this is such a tangent. I'm so sorry, but
No, it's important. It's a
I
lot of
also think
money.
I'm
It's a
gonna
lot of money.
well, that's the thing. I'm doing 100% helium in 11-inch right now. And I think, again, this is like back of the napkin math, but I think if I go to 60/40 helium and turn them into 18-inch balloons, it's like barely even any more helium, but the impact of what those balloons look like, and I can charge probably double. I'm gonna get rid of offering helium bouquets in 11-inch because like you can just go to Party City, and I don't want to have to justify why I'm 5 times the price. I just want to be like, oh, because mine are 5 times the size. Sorry, I'm awesome.
You have to have the best way to sell it is you send people a picture with somebody in it. That's number one, with 11-inch, a bouquet of 11-inch and a bouquet of 17-inch. It is the easiest way to sell it. We don't even offer it. We just say like you're going to get a jumbo bouquet and our pictures are on our website. But if somebody's like, I'm like, no, because ours look this much better.
Yeah, and I think for like a centerpiece, I mean, 3 11-inch looks like you shouldn't even do it. So 5 11-inch for a centerpiece versus I think 3 18-inch. I think that looks more impactful. It's less work. And I think I calculated that the price was either the same or a little bit less. So that's kind of my next, maybe that'll be my next round. I'm trying to figure out like a bigger is better campaign for my business going into 2025. Just like theirs versus ours and just like show the size. Okay, sorry, totally derailed. Tiffany, last question.
Yeah.
Who would you like to hear on the podcast?
I really think that you could have, even if you don't do like individually, because there is so many, I think having like maybe like three, at a time, maybe a couple different sessions of men that work with their wives full time. Because like at my office, I mean, it could be my husband and our son that works with us. But I think that having some men, I think because I get so many questions about how do you guys work together? How do you guys work this out? Like all those kinds of things. And like, what do you do? And how can they, you can say, how do you support your wife in this business? I think that's like a big hole that we have. And there's a lot of them. I mean, I could give you a big old list of the ones that we talk to. And I think that's because it's happening so much now. The one other thing that we didn't say in the beginning that all of us really have in common is we are all basically, for the most part, in charge of the livelihood of our entire family. So like everybody in this right now, like for the most part, is in charge of, this is not a side business. This is like, this makes our family function. And I think that piece of talking to the husbands, I think would be a very good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Good idea. All right, Jordan, next up. Where do you like to go on vacation? Don't say Disney. I know it's true, but I need some other ideas here.
It is
She can
true,
tell
but
you.
I would say Key West. I went on a trip with my sister, and it was probably my favorite because I was with my sister, but it was just amazing out there. It was really beautiful.
Did you drive?
No.
Well, don't
We
people drive?
flew,
Yeah,
and
but
then
don't
you
people
take like a
drive from
ferry.
like the tip of Florida to like down that whole highway?
Yeah, I think there's a highway over the ocean. Yeah,
I think
but
that
we
would give
took a
me
ferry.
anxiety. Like
Yeah.
so much water and
Me
so
too.
much highway. I'd be like, ugh.
There's a 7 mile bridge that is the worst. Every time we have to drive by it, I get so much anxiety. I'm just like, I prep myself for it because we obviously drive because it's so close to us. So we drive, and it's just like it's really stressful.
Oof. All right.
We're
Key
lucky.
West.
I love
Cool.
Key West. When we fly there, we're able, because depending on where you are, we can fly direct to Key West, but we've driven that bridge before.
Mhm.
And that is definitely in a top,
It's scary.
that's like a top 3 place. But it's lovely.
Yeah.
All right. How about something you've purchased recently that you are enjoying?
Okay, I would say, not to bring it back to Disney, but I just renewed my annual pass. So definitely enjoying that.
We gotta do a whole like cult Disney situation interview. Like I cosplay as a Disney adult, but I am like, you guys are on a different stratosphere.
If
Like I cannot.
if I didn't have kids the age that I have, I would be like on all those trips with Tiffany. Like I'd be like, okay, I'm going. I'm going. Like I love Disney. Just with my kids, without my kids, like I love it.
There's like
It's just so fun.
there's so many layers to it, and I'm just like a beginner that I get overwhelmed. But we were there, and you called something a mouse trap. It was like fake news for Disney, and I like texted my husband. I'm like, there are these things called mouse traps. I was like, they're like fake Easter eggs planted that like they're debunking. Like this is so freaking intense.
It's crazy how many balloon people are into going to Disney. Like, how many of our friends have? I mean, let's put it this way. If we can get Ashley from Pink Flamingo to become a Disney adult and buy an annual pass, there is something to be said because that is the like, I mean,
She was like, I
this
think
is
I'm
how
just
far
gonna
it's
buy an
gone.
annual pass. And I was like, oh, how much are those? And she was like, $1 billion. I don't know how much it is, but it's like $1,500, 1,200. And
Yeah.
I was like, you're just buying this on the whim. You're that confident. You're going back that many times. Like it blew my mind. But now I'm already like, well, I'll be in Florida. I might as well go to Disney. Like I can feel it. It's shifting.
Jordan, how many times did you go in 1 year? Did we go in 1 year? Jordan
I
had never
think I
been her whole
went.
life.
I hadn't been, and I went my first time in April of last year, and then
Ever?
I think I went. Yes, I think I went 7 times, seven or
Oh,
eight
we went
times.
7 times
Yeah,
in a year. We went 7 times, and we just went again last week,
yeah.
and we're going again.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
You
I'm
have to plan the
disqualifying
trip.
you. This needs to be on a different episode. Let's do it at Summit because we'll be in Disney. We should do
Oh,
a Disney
okay.
episode.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes,
Yes.
because I
Yes.
do
at
think that there's
Disney.
something there. There's got to be a trend that connects all these Disney adults and all these balloon people.
I have a theory, but it's too deep. So
Okay, share it. We'll do it at Summit.
Write it down
To be
on your list,
continued.
Lily.
But I also know, Jordan, you have to have like some sort of little physical product
Yes.
that I can go out and buy. No one has given me anything to go and buy. Everyone's
Okay.
saying things I can't
I'm really
buy.
big into like following fashion trends, not like high-end fashion, but I'm really into charm necklaces right now,
Oh,
and like bag charms and just like fun, cute little accessories.
cute. Do you follow Stacy? What's her name? She's super cute. She's related to the Hiltons. I don't remember what her name is. I'll send you her info. She does like, I mean, she's like a bajillionaire, but she does
Okay.
like these little bag charm tutorials that are very cute. I mean, they're like
Cute.
excessive, like dripping with all the stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like an Hermes bag, or it's like she's
Yes.
super rich, but she's super cute and out there. And last question, who would you like to hear on the podcast?
This question is really hard because I feel like I just listen to the podcast and they're all great. Actually last week at the airport, I think I binged like 3 or 4 episodes and I loved all of them, but I would love to be on the podcast, so I'll just say that.
Sold. Okay. Actually, I'm going to
Okay.
use you as a teachable moment.
Okay, perfect.
I do get a lot of questions from people who are like hinting at the fact they want to be on the pod. Does that make sense? Like they're like,
Mm.
oh, it'd be really cool if you talk to someone about this. And I just happen to be an expert in that. And I'm like, sell yourself. Tell me you want to be on the pod. Like there's no gatekeeping. If someone wants to
Yeah.
come on, for the most part, if you have something to share, I'm happy. So,
Well, I was gonna say Maggie from Presley Page because I got to help her.
oh, she's coming
again
on.
with-
I just did the interview.
Yeah, and then I saw that you already interviewed her, so
Her interview's good. It's really
okay,
good. It's coming up.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it will have already aired by the time people hear this, but awesome. Jordan, you're on. And you
Okay.
are interesting too because, well, first you have your kits coming out. Second of all, you're like retail-ish, right? No, or studio? Like you have a brick and
No,
mortar.
it looks like a brick and mortar, but it's not. It's just a little shop in my yard.
you're confusing her with her twin, Ashley.
I know,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
She has the brick and mortar. No, really? Okay, so that's a whole other thing. Obviously, no one's taking notes. So just remember this, but I love that when you film your videos, like I thought for sure you were in a store. So the fact that you can just like make your home look like that, I think is interesting. I think that's really hard and intimidating when you want to film cute videos, but you're like, but I'm in a bedroom and it's very
Mhm.
obvious. Like I think that's interesting. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, neat. Tiffany, it looks like you remembered something.
Okay, I thought of something that about. I don't know if, well, Jordan definitely knows. I love a gadget. I got
Yes.
so many gadgets. Oh my gosh. So I got 2 new gadgets that I really am into. One is it's made by DJI. and it is like a gimbal, but it's
Yes,
you can
that.
attach your phone to it. And so I really, really like that because
And it follows you around.
it can follow you. It can be a whatchamacallit,
Tripod.
tripod. It's got, and mine raises. You saw, yeah, because so that's really cool. And then another gadget that I got that's not really, I don't know if I could really use, I wouldn't really use it for balloons, but I got a old school handheld camcorder. I got one of those. But those two things, but really this and also another thing that kind of goes along with this is I think a lot of you guys know I ended up getting a work phone. And so trying to keep all of my work stuff on the work phone has been super helpful as far as like balance in my life and things like that. That's not newer, but it's something to really be said because I think if people are struggling with anything like that, like trying to take most of my work photos on that phone, have my phone calls on that phone. So I turned my old personal number into my work number because too many customers had it.
Yeah.
And then I got a new personal number that like 40 people have, and that's it. And literally that's it. Like, do not give my phone number out.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like a gadget or it's like a new thing, but it has helped. And I know it's like Jordan has gotten one too now. It's a little bit of an adjustment to get used to. And I know people have Google numbers, but the separate phone has like
So you just like turn it off when work is done?
Literally turn it off. I don't care. I just turn it off. I don't care. Nothing is that important.
That's awesome. Cool. All right, Aubrey, last but not least, vacation spot you would recommend?
Well, I have 4 kids, so we don't really vacation that much, but we are starting because my youngest is finally 5. I tried it when my oldest was born, and I am just not a traveling with little kids person. So I will say I don't have a particular spot, but it would be anywhere I haven't been. I am going to London in October, which is like a big deal for me. I'm taking my mom for her retirement. So that's going to be fun. And I'm hoping to bring my crew to Florida sometime in the November to February region.
To Disney.
No, I'm not bringing my kids to Disney.
Oh,
I can't because I need it to be like a little bit vacation for me because I don't do vacations myself right now. Like I'm in that business phase of growth. I'm trying to like get out of it, but I love my kids, but that's very overwhelming for me to take 4 kids to
I love
Disney.
taking my daughter to Disney, but it was freaking fun to be there without her. Like I didn't have to worry that anything was dark or scary. And if Tiffany ever invites you to Disney, you better freaking go because it is like nothing you've ever experienced before. So I had a very good time without my kids, but like it's a completely different vacation, I will say.
It's very overwhelming to me.
Yeah. And then when they're like done and it's like 11:30 a.m. and you're like, mommy just spent our life savings to be
Right.
here. You better have fun. And you're just like, it has to be so good versus with a bunch of adults and like everyone's just like relaxed. Like it's totally different.
Yeah.
All right. How about any gadgets? Anything? It doesn't have to be a gadget. That's just the way to my heart, a gadget. What have you purchased recently that you're liking?
This is not something purchased recently, but I do have something else. But my best, most favorite ever investment is a heated blanket. I don't know. I come
Interesting.
home from an install or after a long day or honestly whenever. Like I do like to keep my house like cold in the summer and I mean colder, I guess, in the winter too. And so like the heated blanket, I have one on my bed that I don't sleep with it, but like if I'm relaxing, and then I also have one on the couch because it's
Simple luxury. I like it.
something I never knew that I needed.
I feel like Lily's face was confused in Miami. You're like, what is a heated blanket?
Well,
Please explain.
even in the summer, like my AC is cranked like all the way cold. I love like
Huddling up.
getting under the heated blanket in the AC.
Nice.
I mean, usually after I've like wound down and cooled off a little bit, but and then I didn't buy these. My friend bought them for me. But Trader Joe's has pumpkin spice pumpkin seeds right now. And they're like sweet and they're delicious.
Love
They're
it.
very, very good.
Nice. I'm on the pumpkin. I am that girl. I am like pumpkin everything, please.
Yep.
me too.
Yep.
The worst, but I
And
don't care.
they're crunchy and they're like slightly sweet and there's a little bit of salt on them. And I mean, they're literally like, they're at my desk right now. Not that anyone can see it, but you can hear it.
Love it. All right. And then last one, you're going to wrap us up here. Who would you like to hear on the podcast?
I don't know if I have anyone in particular, but I always love like a sneak peek. So like if any brands want to come on and like I feel like they could like hype us all up for like upcoming Christmas collection, or like Prima did just release super cute foils, or Tuftex with a new color. Like it would be like tuning in just to get in the know.
Yeah.
Like I love a good sneak peek. So and then they could I feel like all of the brands should do it. Like Click has something
from
new,
your mouth to God's ears. I am working
Yes.
harder this next year to get bigger brands on. I like even the behind the scenes stuff. I'm just like, can someone tell me what happened with Swallowtex? Like, is anyone
Right.
willing to come
Can
on
someone
and
come and spill the tea
It's
about
like a
how all
freaking
of it happened?
saga, and we're all just like connecting the dots kind of on our own. I'm like, we're here. Tell us. All right. Well, this was fun. I will see you guys next week in our mastermind meeting where we're kicking it off. Do we know who's going first?
Oh no.
All right, we'll have to figure it out. But thank you for sharing openly. And I hope if anyone is listening and decides to do this, please let me know. Like, I think we would all be very excited if we hear that other people are finding groups to get tapped into, because it is very fun to have a safe space to, kick ideas around or vent or whatever. So I hope that this gives someone courage to start their own. I think we'd all love to hear. So thank you so much, ladies. I will see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. As usual, I tried to keep it bright and light. Our presenting sponsor is 17 Hats, the CRM I use to cut the chaos and manage my entire balloon business. From the lead capture form on my website to workflows and email templates, invoicing and grab-and-go garland automated bookings, it's all powered by 17 Hats, the best customer relationship management system for balloon businesses. There's even a 50% off coupon code waiting for you in the show notes wherever you're listening. I'll see you next week in another episode.